So let's now look at the last part of the Battle of Jericho, and this breaks into 3 stages. And these are the walls collapsing, the evacuation of Rahab, and the plunder and burning of the city. So the collapse of the walls means the city is now defenseless and is ready to be taken. Star Wars fans, this is that moment you hear, "The shield is down, commence attack on the Death Star's main reactor."
The shield is down. Commence attack on the Death Star's main reactor.
We're on our way. Red group, gold group, all fighters follow me. I told you they'd do it.
Or any movie where they use a battering ram to gain access to the city. Okay, so stage 2 is the evacuation of Rahab and her family. So Rahab represents God's people, and so in the final battle of Revelation, God's people will be evacuated and will not therefore suffer the final outpouring of God's wrath. And we believe the evacuation of Rahab symbolizes the rapture of the church, and we'll talk more about this in a moment. Stage 3 is the final outpouring of God's wrath. This is where they burn the whole city and everything in it. This is the great wedding supper of God, where the birds are invited to feast on the flesh of kings, princes, generals, and the small and great.
Feast on his flesh.
This is where the guests at the wedding banquet are drunk and are now served the horrible wine that has been trodden out of the winepress of God's wrath. This fiery destruction is where the beast and false prophet are thrown into the lake of fire. It is the final downfall of Satan. So we can now match this up with our diagram of Jacob's ladder. And that's the pair of angels in the middle of the staircase. So let's begin with angel 2. Revelation chapter 18 verse 1 says, "I saw another angel coming down from heaven. He had great authority, and the earth was illuminated by his splendor. With a mighty voice he shouted, 'Fallen, fallen is Babylon the Great.'" And just like in the Battle of Jericho, the people gave a shout and the city of Jericho fell. So here the angel gives a loud shout and the great city of Babylon falls. Its shield is down, and now commence the attack on its main reactor. Let the wedding supper of God begin. The city is ripe for the taking, and that's stage 1. In chapter 18 verse 4, we read about stage 2, the evacuation of God's people. That verse reads, "Come out of her, my people, so that you will not share in her sins, so that you will not receive any of her plagues, which is God's wrath." So just as Rahab was evacuated from Jericho, so too the church will be evacuated or raptured before God's wrath is poured out. Just like Moses and the Exodus, so too in the Battle of Revelation, there will be a mass exodus of the church before the Red Sea comes crashing down on God's enemies. So we are seeing the imagery of Rahab being played out in our Jacob's ladder. Now, you want to see something cool? All right. The matching angel is from Revelation 20 verse 1, which says, "I saw an angel coming out of heaven, having the key to the abyss and holding in his hand a great chain. He seized the dragon, that ancient serpent who is the devil or Satan, and bound him for 1,000 years. He threw him into the abyss and locked and sealed it over him." So Satan, the ancient serpent, whom the Bible also calls the Leviathan, is thrown into the abyss. Now here's the cool part. In the Hebrew Bible, so the Old Testament, the word for mystical sea monster or Leviathan or serpent is, wait for it, it's Rahab. Rahab, I mean, come on. How cool is that? But wait, there's more, because Rahab is also one of the Hebrew words for the abyss. And now this is just insane, and every single one of you, I want you to type crazy, because that would be wild. Very, very wild. And please subscribe, and if you like what you see, please drop us a like and share this video. So Rahab means the ancient serpent and the abyss. And so Rahab is immersed within our Jacob's ladder structure, and the Battle of Jericho is a blueprint for the Battle of Revelation. And I need to say that Revelation 20 verse 5 and 6 talks about the first resurrection, and I'm pretty sure this is the only place in the Bible that specifically mentions the first resurrection. And this is what Rahab symbolizes, because the rapture will follow after the dead in Christ are raised, which is the resurrection and transformation of the saints. So finally, one last nugget of gold before we take a break. We mentioned the rapture corresponds to a mass exodus of the church. So Moses and the Exodus is a blueprint for Rahab and the rapture. So now here is Hebrews chapter 11, verse 29. By faith, the people passed through the Red Sea as on dry land. But when the Egyptians tried to do so, they were drowned. Right? That's the Exodus. And now, the very next verse, so right beside the Exodus, we have the story of Jericho and the story of Rahab. Literally in verses 30 and 31, the story of the Exodus, the story of Jericho, the story of Rahab. So, is this simply just another coincidence? And I've kind of lost count of how many coincidences we would be up to, but I'll tell you this, it beats any insurance odds I've ever seen. So we'll take a break here, and in the next video we will look at another story that corresponds to our Jacob's Ladder diagram, and you won't believe the insights, they are just so beautiful. So please subscribe and drop a like. Bye guys!
Alright, so we'll take a break here, and in the next video we will explain how this story is the key to unlocking the hidden meaning behind Jacob's Ladder and the Battle of Revelation. See you all soon.
This video contains God's insights. So if you like what you see, please share this video with people you love and care about. Please also comment, like, and subscribe. I'm asking for your help to share these insights. If sharing this video can save even one life, it will have been worth it. Act in faith and then stand back, and God will breathe fire and people will be drawn like moths to a flame. God is with us. Take care, guys.